Back at it again with the Mobius Dickus. Chapter 22, Merry Christmas. It's a quick one, not going to be here long. This chapter describes the Pequod setting out into the ocean, which is colder and icier than people, I think, expect. Hence, the Merry Christmas is perhaps ironic in the title. The first passage I wanted to go over is a little bit into the chapter where it describes the sailors hauling in various sails, and it says, Bildad, I say, might now be seen actively engaged in looking over the bows for the approaching anchor, and at intervals singing what seemed a dismal stave of psalmody to cheer the hands at the windlass, who roared forth some sort of chorus about the girls in Booble Alley with hearty goodwill. Nevertheless, not 3 days previous, Bildad had told them that no profane songs would be allowed on board the Pequod, particularly in getting under way. I don't know. It's just pretty funny, this really religious guy trying to control all these sailors who just can't help themselves. And I don't know what the girls in Booble Alley are capable of, but boy, do apparently they know. The other passage I want to go over here is Bildad's quotation of this poem, where as this rather intensely disorienting and wintry voyage is going, he says, Sweet fields beyond the swelling flood stand dressed in living green. So too the Jews, old Canaan stood, while Jordan rolled between. And Ishmael says, Never did these sweet words sound more sweetly to me than then. They were full of hope and fruition. In spite of this frigid winter night in the boisterous Atlantic, spite of my wet feet and wetter jacket, there was yet, it then seemed to me, many a pleasant haven in store, and meads and glades so eternally vernal that the grass shot up by the spring, untrodden, unwilted, remains at midsummer. So two things here. The first is I think it's just a rather well-written, kind of pretty passage about the hope springing eternal, if you will. But also I think at a plot level, this forces us to ask, are there sweet fields that will await the Pequod, or is this rough start to Ishmael's voyage simply a new normal? And the chapter, as we're going to see a pattern in this series of chapters at the start of the journey, seem to have a sense of, ill omen about them, which is captured in the last passage here, which says, Ship and boat diverged. The cold, damp night breeze blew between. A screaming gull flew overhead. The two hulls wildly rolled. And we gave 3 heavy-hearted cheers and blindly plunged like fate into the lone Atlantic. So after Bildad and Peleg depart from the boat, there seems to be a kind of ominous tone. Plunging is an interesting verb, as is the adverb blindly. There seems to be a kind of foreboding there. I'll leave the chapter at that. It's a quick one. It kind of builds some tension, and we'll spend some more time on other chapters that appear in this little block we're looking at. See you next chapter.